In this video, we're going to study compound interest. So we're going to begin with a very simple example where let's consider an investment of $1,000 and let's consider this money to be invested for 3 years, and let's just give a basic rate of interest. Let's go with 10% per annum. So 10% per annum. Okay, so let's just have a look at what's happening each time. If we begin, let's look at the end of the first year. Because the interest is being compounded, it's per annum, so it's per year. So that means that after the first year, once we've invested $1,000, we will then get 10% interest by the end of that first year. So how do we find 10% of an amount? Well, we're increasing for a start, so it's going to be a multiplier. We're multiplying by 1.10. because that's what the increase of 10% is. Now that will give us $1,100. Okay, so our total is $1,100. Now let's have a look at what happens at the end of the second year. At the end of the second year, we'll have this money here, which was made by 1,000 multiplied by 1.10, and we're going to increase that amount at the end of that year by another 10%. So I'm going to multiply by 1.10 again, and that gives me the total of $1,210. And then at the end of the third year, I then get another 10% on top of that total. So it's all of this, which is 1,000 multiplied by 1.10 multiplied by 1.10, which gives me this. And then I'm going to increase it by 10% again. So I'm going to multiply by 1.10 again, which gives me a final total of $1,331. Now, if we have a look at what's happening here, in the relationship on how we're building this, because we're looking at how we might build compound interest formula or exponential growth formula, we start with a principal amount, which was 1,000, and then each year we're multiplying it by the percentage increase, which was found by 10% plus that 1. So it's 100 plus 10%, isn't it, which is 1 plus 10 over 100. And of course, if you look at how that's built up, depending on each year, say n was the number of years, I'm literally going to put it to the power. So you can see at the end of the first year, it's just 1.10 to the power 1. The second year, it's 1.10 to the power 2. And the third year is 1.10 to the power 3. So let's suppose that's how we build up that formula. Now, this gives us a formula for compound interest. And let's just talk about what compound interest means. It's the interest is added to the principal, so this is the starting value here, at the end of each year. So it's compounded annually. The principal grows each year, and so does the interest. So the interest is growing each year as well. And over many years, we've only looked at the simple case of 3 years, but over many years, the compound interest can become enormous. So let's put values to these. Let's say that A is the amount that we get at the end of each time period, so N being the time period. Let's use P for the initial amount, the principal value, and then I'm going to multiply it by the interest rate. Now, to find the interest rate, because it's an increase, it's 1 plus that rate, which was 10%. 10% as a decimal is 10 over 100. And we put it to the power of a time. Now that tells us the amount that's going to be in the account each time. And this is a very famous formula that you will use a lot. So I'll put a purple box around it, and I will define what I've just said about each of those variables in writing. So if I was going to do that example again, I can do it much quicker just by substituting in P is 1,000, R is 10, so it'd be 1 plus 10 over 100, and N being 3. And if I just literally type that in, that tells me the amount. So I'd obviously have to use my calculator for this. Oops, my pen's running out. 10 over 100 to the power 3. Now type that into your calculator, and straight away you get the amount $1,331. Now, let's suppose the question said, well, okay, that's the amount that was in the account. What's the interest that you've earned over that 3-year period? Well, we initially invested this $1,000, and we've now got $1,331. So the interest earned is going to be, let's call I interest. The interest earned is going to be the amount I have in the account now. Take away the initial investment, which tells me the interest earned over those 3-year periods was $331. I'm just going to do a second example involving compound interest. So this is exponential growth. So let's do investing $2,000. So we're going to invest $2,000 across 4 years at 8% per annum. Okay, so we've got the fact that the interest rate is compounding yearly. Per annum, remember, means yearly. And we have our P, principal amount, which is 2,000. We have our R, which is 8%. And we have our N, which is 4. So I'm going to sub that into the formula that we created before. And I always write the formula out as a principal, really. And I sub the values in. So I've got 2,000 multiplied by 1.08, because that's what that's going to turn out as, and to the power 4. And once that's worked out, I get $2,720.98, correct to 2 decimal places.